Hello Horror Hounds and welcome to a brand new video. If you've been following my social media on my Facebook and Instagram, you will be aware that this is a video that I had planned last week. As you also may be aware, I have recently been in London attending the premiere of the low-budget indie slasher flick Cane Hill. My review for that now has been published on lovehorror.co.uk, so I will link that in the description box below for you guys if you'd like to check that out. I'm going to be talking about a movie today that has become one of my favourite slasher films of all time, and that is of course the 1982 Spanish film Pieces. This is the new limited edition Arrow Video box set, and it's the 4K restoration version, which in a moment I'll let you know what that's like, so that's all cool. And basically, this isn't the deluxe limited edition that comes with the jigsaw puzzle, which is the replica of the jigsaw that the little boy at the start of the movie is piecing together, and then you see it later on as well. It's a quite prominent fixture there. So I don't have that one, although it would have been a fabulous puzzle to just pull out at a dinner party, you know, why not? Just a naked woman. Fantastic stuff. But yeah, so I didn't end up getting that version due to, I think it had been out of print by the time I ordered mine, but I have this really lovely box set, limited edition, and it basically comes with a 3-disc set including the soundtrack, which has been remastered as well, and so there's all that in there. Which is lovely stuff, and it's got the reversible sleeve in there as well, which has the original artwork. But I kind of really like this because I just love it's exactly what you think it is. Get straight to the point, straight for the jugular, which is what we absolutely love. As most of the Arrow Video box sets come with it, comes with a booklet, which is got an excellent piece in here called Pieces, the Craziest Film That Ever Soared by Michael Gingold, and then it's got a interview with the composer Umberto, who has remastered the excellent Pieces soundtrack. I have two favourite pieces of music in Pieces, and that will be the piano score, which is the main theme, and then there's also an aerobics number going in there, and there's like a disco kind of number in there, so that those are the two that stick out the most to me. The box set also comes with something very, very cool that I need to get framed and put up at some point, but it has a double-sided poster. You can see that there. So we've got the main artwork here, which is on the box set, and then we have my favourite, which is the original poster, and I think it was this poster that first attracted me to this film a while ago prior to seeing it, that and the image of the victim in the shower, which is of course a staple of our lovely horror genre. So yeah, this, I think if I'm going to put it up, it will be this side because I absolutely adore it. It's amazing. So Pieces was released in 1982 and it is set in New England in Boston. However, it was filmed in and around Madrid, which is due to budget restrictions. It was directed by Juan Piqué Simon. I really hope I pronounced that correctly. He went on to direct a movie called Slugs, which I have ordered, so if you'd like to see a review of that also, just let me know in the comments below. Pieces incorporates the traditional slasher plot that we all know and love, and it is done absolutely fantastically. It's menacingly macabre, it is it's really, really funny as well, and it pulls no punches in what it does, and goes straight for the jugular, and yeah, it's absolutely incredible, and really one of those standout cult films that I think it has a really, really special place in the horror genre. So the film centres around, it first opens up in a flashback sequence in 1942. However, there's a line, something about trash bags, and they weren't even invented until the 50s, so there's a little bit of a continuity there, but that goes to show already how unapologetic this film is. It really does not care what it's going to throw at its audience. It's just going to go for it and do it, and if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, well, that's tough, basically. But that is the kind of feel that this movie already does. So it starts off with this young boy, and he is piecing together a naughty jigsaw puzzle of the naked woman that I previously spoke about. His quite strict mother, full of rigid views, and she comes along and catches him at it and accuses him of sort of embroiling himself in all this filth. He doesn't take too kindly to her and ends up, just going for it and killing his own mother in a really, really gory fashion. And it is one of the coolest opening sequences, I think, in horror. I love how the little boy manages to fool the police when they open the cupboard. They find a severed head. They think he might have been attacked as well, so they don't actually realise that this boy is unhinged and he is going to be a future danger to society. And that is where the movie kicks off and becomes rather bloodily brilliant. So the other reason I really love it is for its death scenes and set pieces. It is really inventively done. I love how all the death scenes, they're just done in such elaborate ways, and a lot of them are actually done in daylight. This film hasn't got a killer just like lurking in the dark, and you've got that typical predictable setup going on where you've got a girl alone in an alleyway after dark. There's nowhere she can run or hide, or they're in the woods and they're being chased. It's not that. It's literally the second death scene is in the broad daylight on a university campus park, and he just goes for her with the chainsaw, which is so it's just like, again, just goes for it and doesn't hold back on the gore and the thrills. What's interesting about the death scenes is a lot of them do have this common thread of having water involved in them. So there's like a swimming pool death, there's a waterbed death, and then there's of course the pinnacle shower scene death, which obviously is a prominent part of horror films anyway. It's a given, obviously inspired by Hitchcock's Psycho, because obviously that freaked so many people out in the cinema back in its day. And it's like, if you can't do a simple thing like go and take a shower without a knife-wielding maniac or chainsaw-wielding maniac coming in and ending your life, then that is a really, really scary thought. So of course there is a killer on the loose on the campus, and there is a selection of shady suspects to be lined up for to find out who is this knife-wielding maniac. So there's Professor Brown. He's a very uptight, quiet, sleazy looking man, but there's something not quite right about him. He's not very trustworthy. And then there's my favourite. There is the typical janitor character, Willard, who I was watching it thinking, this guy looks really, really familiar, and turns out he is played by Paul L. Smith, who played Bluto in the Popeye movies, so there's like a throwback there to everybody's childhood. So he is the obvious red herring there, and it's really funny because anytime a death has taken place, he just suddenly pops out, like he'll come outside of the door or something like that, and it's really fun to watch, even though it's obvious it's probably not going to be him, but it's just the campiness and the suspension of disbelief with it all. It just makes it all that more special. There's a male student who is quite popular, knows basically better than the police about how the campus works and who all the popular people are and that kind of thing. So he's a really important asset to them. And he teams up with Mary Riggs, who is a champion tennis player. And she's a little bit older than him. There's a little kind of hint at this age gap romance there, but it doesn't really quite go for it. And apparently the reason behind that was because Mary wasn't comfortable with acting that out. But there is a really, really funny sex scene, post-sex scene with Kendall and this really annoying girl who keeps screaming, and he's like, stop screaming because people might think it's the killer, and it's really, really funny. So yeah, they team up, and then she gets attacked and he rescues her, and then they are out of the blue confronted with this random martial arts this kung fu professor, and he just comes out of nowhere, and it has no relation to the plot whatsoever. And apparently the film's producer was working on martial arts movies at the time, and he got this Bruce Lee impersonator to pop on set, just do this random thing with no purpose to the actual movie or not, just for the fun of it. And that's what I love. It's just like there's just this element of fun, element of cheesiness, and kind of just throwing things at the audience that they might not quite expect. So as the film progresses, we see lots of body parts being like sewn together. Obviously the main goal for the killer is to create this human jigsaw, and it's really, really effectively done. And it's like I think the whole build up throughout the movie is you're waiting to see the spectacle of that, and when it does come, it is worth the wait. So the shower death scene, which I think was the scene that was like the main marketing tool for Pieces when it was released, it's actually really authentically done, and I didn't realise this. And when watching it, I thought they show a shot of where the chainsaw is aiming for the young woman's genital area, and she wets herself, and it's like, I thought, oh, that's quite interesting they put that in there. But allegedly it was all genuine. She actually naturally did that because she was actually quite terrified of acting the scene out. So the director thought, this is going to be, good, because it does show that sense of fear. And so I'm really glad they did keep that in, because at the time I was like, oh my God, that is like a really genuine reaction if this thing was happening to you, if you were enclosed in a shower cubicle with this maniac and there was no way to escape, and that was how you were going to meet your maker. And I think that just works, that scene is done incredibly well for the slasher movie that it is. Now, with Arrow's 4K restoration version, the film looks absolutely amazing. It's really, really like sharp with the pictures. Everything's really clear, and also the gore looks incredible, and it's like really come out well. You've got all that red blood oozing, and I only found this out recently, but because I was really impressed with the gore in this film, and turns out they did use blood and animal organs from the slaughterhouse, so that kind of brings in another like element of the ick factor for it, because it's not even fake. That is real, genuine gore. And in the scene where the young woman is having her torso cut through with the chainsaw, they actually used a real pig carcass for it. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to like hear all this, like how they, rather than using fake blood, they went for it and tried to make everything look as realistic as they could. I mean, it's not totally realistic by today's standards, but it's it's actually, I really do love the gore in this film. Like, not sure how I feel about the whole animal side of it, but it's it's the effects are fantastic. At the time of its release, it was understandably sort of marked as a corny knockoff, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Obviously, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a completely different movie. It's a completely different beast. It's it's really, really bleak and unrelenting. And Pieces, even though it is unapologetic in what it does, and it is majorly gory, and it's unapologetic, they're totally different things. And I think there is a place for all different types of horror, and I think at the time critics weren't so favourable about it. I believe, and some of them did like sort of criticise it, saying it was exploitative towards women and that all kind of thing. But it's all that stuff that horror movies have been criticised with, since the dawn of time practically. It's it's just one of those criticisms where you just think these movies are targeted at specific audiences. It's people like myself and you guys watching this who absolutely love cult cinema, any sort of horror movies and that kind of thing, and it's not made for a general mainstream audience. So I think all that kind of criticism needs to be shoved out the window for this. This movie does exactly what it says on the tin. It is completely bonkers in what it does, and it doesn't care that it's just doing it. It's there to entertain. and just be, you know, a good horror movie. It's got, you know, a plot, a whodunit plot, you know, you want to know who's doing it. It throws a few sort of red herrings at you. It's like, it's, you know, you got to suspend your disbelief completely when watching it, because it's just a lot of fun, and it's very random at times. And yeah, I absolutely adore Pieces, and it's one that I think has a lot of rewatchability about it for myself. And yeah, so all I will say is, if they're still available, please grab yourselves one of these lovely Arrow Video box sets, because it's definitely worth it if you're a fan, and it's got plenty of cool extras on there too, so if you just go and check those out as well. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. If you're a fan of Pieces, I want to hear what are the reasons you love about it. As always, I'm Hayley's Horror Reviews on Facebook, at Welsh Demoness on Twitter, and Ms. Hayley R 1989 on Instagram, and I will pop all that information in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching.